How we doing? What's up, Tyler? David, Sean?
Good to see you, Steve.
Good to see you guys. For some odd reason, my computer is being stupid, so I'm trying. This is not working. Okay, let me try something else, guys. Sorry. Sorry, second. It's just not letting me in. Oh, geez. Guys, I promise we're going to get to this. All right. Well, David, how you doing? God, it's like a personal call.
I'm good.
What's going on, Isaac? Forgive me.
Like
for
one-on-one coaching today, right?
Yeah, totally. Like, anybody got some Zoom tips? I got this. I figured it out. Just being stupid. David, what's going on in the world, man?
Man, same old, same old. I'm trying to heal, man. Broken foot. So
Ooh, that's no good.
yeah, no, hasn't been fun.
That's no good.
Bottom left.
Something.
Oh,
Hit the mute. Hit the mute. Hit the mute.
What do you got going on over there, Sean?
Hey, Steve, our whole team is here and we're learning technology currently. We just got you at the beach for a minute, dude.
Fantastic. Way for me to really screw this up on a whole team. All right. So while I'm getting this up, what I need, Garrett, is I need to register for the call to get it come up in here. So you can find the link and you got that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to let DJ Garrett get this done. Well, here we are, 2 months down, right? 10 to go in 2024. If you're keeping track of that nonsense and making you sweat, you got 10 years to accomplish your goals. I want to talk about relationships today and why this is so important to the real estate business and probably more important than it ever has been in the current market. And so what I want, all you guys, thanks for joining me. I don't know where, actually, if you guys want to type it into the chat, that'd be awesome. Like, how many years experience do you have right now in the real estate business? And I think there's a big difference as Garrett's getting this done is that we either grow our businesses through transactional or relationship, or maybe a combination of both. So when we're looking at relationships, we want to look at how we build that and what is the perpetual life cycle of our clients when you actually start to look at how I've built my business to the relationship side. This will shock a lot of people when it comes down to it, but seriously, my database is less than 2,000 people, and I actually do about 100 transactions a year successfully, and I have for 25 years. There's only been 1 year that I didn't. That was 2008, and well, I'm pretty sure most people didn't sell 100 homes that year. Some did, but that was a death year for me. When I got out of that cycle, I worked with my parents, and early on, it was very heavily farming, advertising, big marketing budget, those types of things. When I separated from my dad, I like the relationship part, right? I like spending time with people. I don't want to feel rushed, and I want to find a way to truly help them that eventually I get to help them with their real estate. So it's creating rapport and trust. And as soon as I get my slide deck back, then I'll figure this out. Okay. Hey, thanks, Garrett. So I kind of want to go around the room or the call and just kind of tell me how your business is built. Is it more relationship or transactional? Is it a combination? Do you feel that you're more successful on the transactional side or the relationship side? just kind of open it up for discussion because it's kind of a fun thing to see how people have built their businesses over time. Anybody want to jump in? Isaac, how about you? You're fresh in this. This is really good for you.
Yep. So
Just talk about this a little bit.
all of my current and past clients were pretty random. They were not personal acquaintances of mine or anything like that. There was no relationship involved. But since those transactions have happened, I was able to build great relationships with them. So I'm confident that there's a lot of referrals coming from those, and I've definitely been able to build some good relationships with them.
Right. That's good. That's good. So it's time, right? And we all know that this business is a long runway to become successful at it. Isaac, you're in year 1, right? You got 3 years, right? I have no doubt that you'll survive this. And I think that this part right here, because who would agree, right? Type 1 in the chat if you agree. We're just full of noise on how to attract more people in our business from every gimmick possible. And the reality is, real estate was never meant to be transactional. It's always meant to be relationship. Now, some people, the Jason Mitchell group, that dude runs a lead farm, right? He's got great lead sources from Rocket Mortgage, some other thing. That is a transactional lead farm, right? That's what they do. Now, some of their agents probably have some personal touches on the other side of it. They're building relationships, but it may not be the only thing. It's more of a blow and go business, which there's 2 types. It just depends on what you want to build. Me, I'm a person, right? I believe that we're in the people business, not in the housing business. Okay, now I can try to get on track here. Where's my screen? Maybe. There. All right, here we are. Now we're going to start. Where's the timer? A few of you new on here, welcome. If you're with Real, awesome. If you're not, the invitation's always welcome, but this is not a pitch for that. I do this inside Real once a month, and I want to say that I'm very appreciative for you investing an hour of your time with me. I promise not to waste it. This may be a little bit more than an hour because we're talking about relationships, and this is a great topic. I love it. If you can't stay for the whole thing, that's cool. It's recorded. You'll get some emails. And again, I do this to give back to you guys. It's very, very important to me to give back to the industry. I want to make it better. I think all of you guys want to make it better because I believe when we're doing this, the relationships are the key to everything. So let's dive into this. Does anybody know the most famous Rolodex in history and why Rockefeller had this? So after years and years and years in archive, they brought out Rockefeller's Rolodex, which basically was 100,000 3x5 note cards that every time he talked to somebody, he would write something down, whether it's their dog, their birthday, their anniversary. So when that person would call or he would meet with, or before he met with them, he would look at their Rolodex and he would take mental note of the relationship he had. And he always made it look like he was listening all the time to these people. But what he did is he just had a note card, which today, day and age, your CRM, right? You put those notes somewhere where they're easily accessible at the top so that when that person calls, you can do a quick brief and go, okay, now I remember where I'm at with this person. That's okay to have those reminders because they're ways to build relationships. So when we're building relationships, it's really important that we think about this, but this was Rockefeller's key to success was really getting people to believe that he was more intentional about them and knowing them than they were the interest in him. And that was where he made a lot of relationships. And to be frank, he made a lot of money doing that through relationships. Okay. The most common misconception in real estate is that we're in the housing business, right? The real estate business. What do you do? I'm in the real estate business. I'm in the people business. Houses don't do anything without people, right? Plain and simple. I can't have a relationship with a house. Well, maybe in 2024, there's probably some weird sicko that has one. But my point is that we're in the people business. It's not just houses, right? So the relationships comes from people, and then people buy houses, and people invest money, and people have relationships with you, and you trust them. So you want to build through that. This was a picture from last year. I was probably 30 pounds overweight there and letting my clients hose me with champagne at their closing. Kind of fun, right? It's relationship. It's a memory that they will never forget. And it's a reminder that I'm building relationships with these people. And it's about having fun and congratulating and staying in touch with them. And the more we do this, the more relatable. So part of this whole relationship building is understanding where the relationship, and I want to give this story here. I want you to meet Doug and Tina Smith. This is what happens when your business goes into relationships and you ask questions and you help people solve and you help people build no matter what phase of life they're in. Okay. So Doug and Tina, it's such a cool story. And this is what I love about this business being it so long, is that I can take all the bad stuff that has happened over the years, and I rarely remember the bad things. But what I do remember is the cool relationships and where they started and how they've perpetuated and what it's done for myself, my family, for this family. So this family we meet, we buy their house on seller carry 7 years ago. It's a second home. We refinance that house. We keep that money comes back to the owner. Well, this is Doug. This is the first time I met Doug, not in this picture. We buy his house on seller carry. We refinance. He comes in 24 hours later. He says, hey, can you help me make this $200,000 grow? Do you have a place you can invest it? So that was 6 years ago. We now have more than $1 million of Doug's money invested in our company right now in properties. Doug is enjoying retirement and cruises and different things, and he stops in every now and again. We give each other a hard time. I've got a ton of money invested with me, but it's a trust thing that was built on relationship all the way through because it was asking questions and trying to figure out what's next for Doug. He sold a house. He doesn't have another house to sell, but he got money, right? So I want to know how I can help Doug with his money. And see, when we're in real estate and we start to understand the investment side, we start to realize like this business and one person, one relationship can be many, many keys to many, many different successes in the future. And you don't know when that's going to happen because it depends on the stage that you're at in your business and how you're wanting to grow it. So with this in mind, as I leave this slide, you're in the people business. You have to connect with people. That's who's buying houses, right? Okay. Have you ever done this? So if you haven't been in the business for a really, really long time, the client genealogy is fun. And it actually kind of reminds me of the boring part of the Bible where it says, he begat, he begat, he begat, and it's like 25 chapters long. And you're like, great, this person came from this person 100 generations ago. This is fun in the business because I go back and I look at this sign gall converted to this person, converted to this referral that's bought multiple homes, right? But how did all that happen? Well, I kept in touch with them. They were at kids' birthdays. They were at all kinds of different things. And you're opening yourself up to have that very personal relationship with your clients. Some people, I remember this very early on. My dad is like, there's got to be a separation. You don't want your clients to know too much about you personal because they will judge you. And I'm like, well, what if they judge me in a good way and they really like me as a person and as a real estate agent? Then I get the best of both worlds. So me, I'm just an open book. I mean, I had a 67-year-old female investor in a drift car this week on the track. That's how much I've just opened up my life to my clients because we're building relationships and we're having fun doing it. And it's not this testy pissing contest with people. And that's one of the differences in my business is like, I'm not having a lot of pissing contests with my clients because they're old relationships, right? So there's a trust built. And that's what we're wanting to get into. So those of you that are in the business pre-5 years, the seeds you sow right now will determine the success you have in this business going forward and whether or not you make it. And everything's about genuinely connecting with people and finding common ground, building trust, and then asking for business. That's what that looks like. All right, let's go back. Here's what I want to go through today. I've given you kind of the basis. Here's the 4 things at the end. I'm going to give you some great takeaways to move through your business that you can start today when we get off the phone. That's how simple it is. That's great. And guess what? You don't need any money. That's the cool part about building relationships. It doesn't require money. It requires your time investment. And until you have money to invest in bigger things, use your time and your talent, right? That's what connecting is. Interesting story. I have a friend of mine that runs the customer service department in APS, which is our biggest utility company here in Phoenix. She said the number one problem she is having hiring right now is customer service because people do not know how to build rapport on the phone, especially our younger generation. If they can text, that's how they're building rapport. But we all know with text, there's no emotion. The only emotion that comes with text is what's in your head. And it depends on the mood that you're in as to how you read that, right? So We got to go back old school. Sounds weird, but I'm telling you, this is where the money is. Like, this is how the mega rich get mega richer is relationships. I mean, look at what a disaster our politics are right now, right? I mean, these guys grease the skids with $1 million handshakes. All right. I want to share with you how I've been building relationships and how you are going to build relationships for your future, your business, how to nurture them. The nurturing part is the most fun. Doing business with a relationship, and then eventually being able to turn that relationship into capital for your investments. Now, remember, turning that relationship into capital is benefiting both parties. It's benefiting you as the real estate agent because you're going to see opportunities, and your clients are always looking for investments. You can't tell me that none of your clients are not looking for ways to invest their money, grow their wealth and their legacy. And that should be part of your conversation as you are digging into this. This is where our clients are never done buying houses. They're never done investing money, which means I'm always connected with them because there's always something different going on. That's the part about this business as you're going. Isaac, I'm going to use you as an example, right? Because you've been through my coaching. You've been through some of this stuff. You're in year one. You're building relationships, right? You're seeing things. You definitely got an earful, doing my coaching program on the different investments and the different types. So as Isaac is building his relationships, he also knows that he's having conversations about money and presenting opportunity to other clients, because some clients don't want to own real estate, but they'll lend you the money to buy it, right? And this is honestly, guys, this is honestly the path that changed my career when I learned how to take my clientele and start turning them into banks. And then the business is just completely different from that standpoint. And it really is that easy. It's just not simple, right? Slideshow work. Okay. The circle. This is what happens in my business. This is what's going to happen in your business if you choose to accept it, right? And this is where the fun is, okay? How many of you, type a 1 in the chat, because I guarantee you nobody's putting it in there, love getting up every morning and thinking about, I need to make 100 cold calls to people that don't want to hear from me, that are going to hang up on me, and that is the joy of living every morning, right? It's not. But if I encourage you to wake up every morning and sit at your desk and go, hey, I'm going to write 5 people gratitude notes today. That sounds like fun. I'm going to call a past client that I sold a house to last month, and I'm going to have a good conversation with them. And then I'm going to call another past client. And then, hey, I might even call an agent, see how they're doing, and check in with a friend. I'm going to do that for the first hour. Guess what's happened? You have all these wins compiling first thing in the morning. You've gotten some gratitude out. You've had some good conversations, which guess what? These are wins that keep you coming back, right? It's like the golf game. That last shot is awesome. It takes away the whole shitty game that you just had, right? This is the same way. So if you start in the morning and you're getting all this encouragement from past clients, you're doing different things, right? You're doing these things, you're building a relationship, right? And it's rapport that you're building. Most people you talk to today, they're not ready to buy a freaking house anyway. That's why a Facebook lead takes 12 months to nurture. No, thank you. Right? I'd rather handwritten letters every day than to respond to Facebook leads. But that's what I want to do. I enjoy it, right? And there's so many different ways you can find reasons to do it. And there's so many different pieces of technology that will help you with this. But first, you have to create the habit yourself. Once you've created the habit and the intentional habit and the intention behind it, then you can figure out, well, do I want to automate some of this stuff, but don't take the personal side out of it. Okay. It's really important. Okay. Funny story on talking about personal. Actually, I'll save this for a second. When you meet somebody, I'm going to give you a story as we go through this. Okay. When you meet somebody, you find that emotional connection, common ground, or you form a bond over something. So I'm going to take my Blazer. My Blazer is something that we built frame off. I'm a car guy through and through. The way I got to that Blazer was through multiple relationships and connections. I bought another car part from another guy. He's like, oh, that's a sweet Blazer. Like, you got to check this guy out. So he sends me over there. I spend a couple $100,000 building this truck with this guy. It was a word of mouth referral. That guy wouldn't have that business if it wasn't for this word of mouth. Well, guess what? That builder builds some pretty sick cars every year at Barrett Jackson. So in my CRM, Every January, his entire shop gets a box of crumbled cookies and a big thumbs up, good luck to Barrett Jackson this year, right? It's $20 of cookies and a letter once a year. Tells my staff to send it out. Do you know what I get from Dan Hogan? Guy's the #1 builder in all of America for these trucks. He calls, he's like, hey, dude, my son's getting ready to buy a house. We're paying cash. What do you got? Where are we going, right? So we're going to go down that road. This guy builds cars for celebrities. Where's my connection now? So today he makes the call. Again, this is kind of the fun part, right? Where you start looking things around. You're like, God, I'm not chasing people. I'm not calling them 7 times. People are connecting. And I want you guys to have this feeling, because all of a sudden you come in, you're like, this is connected. This is jamming. I'm doing these little things. It's kind of fun. And no longer feels like work. So I've nurtured the connection with Dan by some letters, some just complimenting him, commenting him, those types of things, right? We've built trust. He knows what Wendy and I do in real estate. We've been out to their house. We've built that trust. I didn't ask about real estate. He brought it to me. He says, hey, we made a shit ton of money at Barrett Jackson this year. We need a place to put this. What do you suggest? I didn't market to him at all, right? So the cool thing about this relationship is Dan calls me this morning. He says, hey, I've got a great opportunity for you. He says, I need a vintage blazer like yours. One of the biggest WWE stars would like a vintage blazer to roll him into the arena this weekend. He's like, you want to do it? Sure. I don't know who I'm going to get connected this weekend, but it sounds like fun, right? The relationship. There wasn't a lot of talk about business. I did business with him, and now business being done back, but I built the relationship. Never really talked about real estate when we did it. And this is like anything you do, this is what it is. Who has a hobby? Type your hobby in the chat. I want to see these chats, Garrett. What do you got for hobbies? Give me some hobbies. Mine is cars. I got 2 hobbies. They both revolve around cars. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm doing with it. The Blazer, 100% business write-off. And by the way, I'm giving you something to do inside your business that's a write-off that's fun for you. We built the Blazer through the company. The Blazer goes to car shows. It advertises the business. I set up a booth at the car shows. I'm connecting with people on their ground. I have the car, creates connection. We have conversation. They might want to talk about real estate. We kind of go through those things. It's kind of fun. It's an immediate connection inside that community that eventually real estate will come out of just for being inside it. So find the hobbies you can create relationships in and support those hobbies with those people, because it will make a difference in your business. And guess what? I would rather sit at a car show for 3 hours with my truck, hanging out with some super wealthy people talking about real estate than hanging out at an open house. Because it's relationship building. It's talking about something I enjoy. So what can you do to find something that's going to get you out in front of new people that has a common ground that you can eventually create some relationships with? Then you go through this process. You nurture, you go through, you build trust with them, you build rapport, you buy them a cup of coffee. That's how it works. We live in an age of straight for the bedroom with 0 dates. Right? Same thing in real estate. We want someone to buy the house now. I certainly don't want to date them. Right? This is so true. You are not going to connect with everybody, and don't take it personally. It's also something that you can live by when you're building relationships. When you have the choice, when you meet with someone, you're like, nope, that dude isn't messing with any of my computer space in my CRM. Right? And you get some people where you're like, nope, click, I'm out. See some of these people where it's like, do you keep people you don't want to do business with in your database? Oh yeah. Why? I don't want to do business with them. Peace out, delete. Right? I only want to have the best relationships in my CRM. Everybody's got that client when they call you cringe, right? I made a goal this year. If I get a call from somebody I work with or somebody I'm doing business with and I cringe, it's got to go. Right? And here's why I say that. It's really hard in a market like today when you get just a little bit of business and somebody's an asshole and you really want them to go away because you don't want to work with them, but you feel like you have to. And here's what's happening. You just sold your soul to the devil because you would rather take somebody that's going to treat you less than your standards and you sell yourself out for a lower commission for somebody that doesn't respect you. And then they treat you like shit all the way through the transaction, even though you did the best job. And at the end of the day, you just have resentment because you obligated yourself to somebody you knew you should have said no to. So just think about that when you're going through clients and relationships. You are building relationships with people that you want to do business with, period, and have relationships with. It's not all about business. Okay. Is anybody getting anything out of this so far? All right, good. At least Debbie's shaking her head. All right. How to build the relationship. You cannot outsource this. Okay. This is probably the hardest thing in real estate to do, especially for me. I don't know about you guys, but I get some of my past clients that call. I have no desire to pass them off to a showing agent or something. Like I feel obligated to go help with them. Part of it is some of these people are fun to work with. You're like, nope, I'm going to take that one. It's going to be easy. It's going to be fun. Right. We can't outsource it. You can't outsource those conversations on the phone. You can't outsource the conversations in the car. You just can't. Right. It just doesn't work that way to build a relationship. Keep this in mind too. I think it's something that's forgotten. And I want to remind you guys that we work and live in the greatest industry possible where the sky is the limit, no matter what we want to do. I know we all got into this business for freedom. Like, I'm going to go work for myself. And we all realized real quick, I have zero freedom. I'm at the mercy of everybody else on my phone, right? You really have to love this business to sign up for that. Right? So I just want us all to take time to just be grateful for what we do get to do and realize that there's a lot of people in this industry that have not gotten up in the morning, spent that hour building relationships. Instead, they've spent their time in negative and ended up out of the business. And they went and signed up somewhere where they could have made twice as much money, but because they won't just do the things that they enjoy inside this business and hustle and grind, they quit, they give up. I don't want to see you guys do that because it's very easy to build rapport in this business. And we all have the ability to do it. Because nobody in this room can tell me, hey, I can't build a relationship with 12 people that can buy or sell a house in the next 24 months or the next 12 months. That means you're either hiding behind the computer or you're staying at home and you're not talking to people. Remember, people business, not the house business. All right. Just kind of some simple steps, and you guys are going to get this slide deck as well in your email. The initial contact. We're not selling anything on our initial contact with people. I don't think you sell anything anyway. I think your personality, I think you're asking a lot of questions, you're professional, and you genuinely show interest for the person. Which means if you guys are not doing this, I encourage you to do it. Active listening will help you build relationships. So the next couple of in-person appointments you have, I want you to be very keen on this. I only want you to answer the questions asked and ask a question with it. What happens is everybody loves to talk about themselves. And by asking questions, you're giving them genuine interest in letting them talk about themselves. And the more they talk about themselves, the more relationship you're building. Because guess what? They're divulging all kinds of information that you should be writing down. And when you're in those meetings, you should always have something to write down because something will come up. You're like, a client will come up, a conversation like, I need to send this person a quick gift. Write it down, right? Just scribble it somewhere, visit at the end of the day and figure it out, right? I do this all day. It's usually text messages to Tammy and my staff going, hey, will you send this person this today? Quick, easy, done. And I'm going to get to that in a second because that's where the fun part is. Find common ground, mutual interest. Those are the way you establish the rapport and building a connection. Pay close attention to their needs, concerns, and preferences. How many of us have done this? I know I have stuck my foot in my mouth, and I love this. So don't ever do this when you're showing a house. If you walk into a house, and let me explain to you what happened. I walk into a house. These are people that I went to high school with their daughter, and they walk in, and she's looking around, and I'm in awe because this house is wallpapered from floor to ceiling. The ceilings, the floors, the walls, the doors, like every inch of it's wallpaper. These people put 40 grand in wallpaper. And I'm like, this is absolutely hideous. She looks at me and she says, I love it and want to buy it. So when you are building rapport, be careful of throwing out, I hate this, before you know what the other person likes, right? Because you really screw up, you call somebody to call back. It's like, if I started out with every conversation, I hate electric cars, I might offend a few people. They're going to know I don't really like electric cars after a while, right? But I don't have to tell them. Open-ended questions just to encourage to share more about themselves and their aspirations and their goals. Guys, I tell a lot of stories because I'm trying to figure out how to just let you see where this can be implemented on a day-to-day basis and where clients, you get ideas like, how can I help this person? Now, don't take on the hero mentality. You can't help everybody, right? But sometimes we have to present opportunities and allow them to see if they're going to capture that opportunity. We're all in real estate, right? We all jumped into this opportunity. What we're doing with it is up to us. When you're building relationships with people like this and you're checking in on somebody, do not do it unless you're being genuine. And I mean, when you ask somebody how they're doing, most of the time we're asking surface level. But when you ask somebody how they're doing and you add the word really to it, you better be willing to listen, right? So this is genuine connection stuff, and it's really important. So I was doing my reach out. And by the way, this is what's fun. I want to tell you guys, all this that I'm sharing with you is new for me. I just, like I said, I'm going to go something different this year. I want to go back to relationships, even though I've done a lot of this, but I'm really intent on it since January. And it's been interesting as, you know, I reach out to a client who's been a tenant for 7 years. I never sold her a house. She's still in our database. We've rented her house a couple of times. She came with one of the houses we bought years ago. I reached out to her. How you doing? You know, are we any closer to maybe buying? She's a single mom, 2 kids. And so she just texts back. Things are good. Boys are good. Any employment opportunities? I love my job, but would like change. So I'm like, what if, I'm going to share with you guys one of my stupid ideas because this happens at night. I said, what if I could teach my clients how to have a side hustle and turn them into my biggest billboard? So I had this idea and I'm like, I'm going to throw it out to Leah. Leah wants to make some extra money. She doesn't like her job. Can I turn this girl into a walking billboard? So I sat down with her. I said, hey, Leah, I said, what do you want to accomplish here? She's like, well, I want to change careers, but I'm just not sure what that looks like. I said, okay, do you want to make some extra money? She's like, that would be great because the kids, you know, they're getting close to being out. So if I can make some extra money while I'm still doing this, it'd be awesome. I said, would you invest 90 hours of time to make an extra $2,500 a month? She's like, yeah, I want to hear about that. I'm like, cool. Here's the link to School of Real Estate. I want you to go get your license. It's going to cost you about $600. And I just want you to be a walking billboard for me. Will you refer me to everybody that talks about real estate? Will you post on it? She's like, so you're going to pay me to introduce you to people that want to buy in real estate. I said, it's not just introducing me. You got to sell me. I said, so if I can get you to give me 12 referrals this year and I'll reimburse you for your real estate license once you have it, would that interest you? She's already signed up for real estate school. Here's the thing. I didn't sell her house, but I solved her problem, or at least gave her an opportunity, right? What is that one text message going to do future-wise with this girl? She may never go into real estate. She may never refer. She may never do any of that. But do you think I have a little bit more relationship and trust with her because I tried to help her and it had nothing to do with the house? Cost me 30 minutes. What's it going to do? Some of us feel like we are so busy that we don't leave white space for miracles. And, you know, you hear people like, make sure there's no white space on your calendar. And I'm telling you right now, you got to leave some white space because there's going to be some people you meet and some time that you're going to need to have that all of a sudden that relationship is going to come up to surface. But if you're too busy and you're blowing and going, I got to get here and I didn't leave any time, you're not going to leave any space for the miracle. Like I said earlier, active listening, offer helpful insights, resource, and advice related to their interests and challenges, right? We're connecting people. How do I connect this person to make their life better and keep coming back and forth with that? And sometimes you get connections from them. You're learning from each other, right? That's where the relationships are. Isn't it funny too, how when we're growing up as kids, we're taught to create friendships, but we really don't talk about relationships until we start dating and what the actual impact of a relationship is. I just thought that fascinating as I talked about it with my kids this week. Maintain authenticity, right? what you see online, what you get on a call, what you get on FaceTime, all the things, it's me. No change, right? Just be authentic. That's what you want to do. Because if you're authentic, you're going to authentically attract those types of people, which is going to make it easier to connect. It's going to make it easier to build rapport than it is connecting with people that you really don't have anything in common with, right? All right. Guys, this is my greatest regret of all time. I have owned and spent money on every CRM in the market. None of them worked because I didn't. So I don't care if it's a freaking Excel spreadsheet or notes or something, you know, and there's two different things. So I'm going to go top to bottom here. Isaac, what are you using starting off to track this stuff? And when you talk to somebody, what information are you tracking? If he's still there, his camera's off. All right, I'm going to pick on Sean. Sean, we have a pretty interesting relationship story, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Good times.
It came from community, came from a coffee in the community, and here we are both at Real, and we chat quite often. I want you to see some of Sean. This is one of the reasons I picked on Sean. I was going through a personal struggle about 4 weeks ago. This is the part about relationships that you can never put a monetary value on. Sean sent me a scripture a couple weeks ago, out of the blue. He's having his prayer time things. He thought of me. He sent me the scripture. That scripture couldn't have come at a better time. And I didn't respond to Sean for a couple of weeks, but it couldn't have come for a better time for me and what I needed. So I'm also going to encourage you that as you have those heart feelings, that you do not ignore them. Okay? There are a lot of people out there that are hurting that you don't know. There are people going through things you don't know. And one weird text message could come through at somebody's saving grace moment. So don't ignore those heartstrings. That's relationship, right? You know, you're not going through your whole database, like massive text going, just thinking about you today. That's not genuine relationship, right? But Sean, I text Sean a couple weeks later. I said, dude, you have no idea how much that meant to me. I appreciate that. That's a huge connection for Sean and I. We still haven't done any deals together. Kind of walk through some things. We educate. He's done some coaching with me, but it's a relationship that we have that we will do business together eventually, but we have a personal connection in months, kids, all the things, right? Sean, what are you doing? So you've been in this business a couple of years. What are you doing to gather data, and how are you utilizing that data?
Yeah, so for me, our team has a CRM that we get to use thanks to being on a team. And I'll basically house all the information I get in there. It has a notes section to be able to throw notes into. Part of what I'm trying to get better at actually is not spreading it between a couple different places, because I've always utilized actually like my phone and notes and deals within contacts within my phone to have ongoing information of when I talk to people and things that are going on.
Right. What kind of questions and things are you gathering in that? Like when you first talk to somebody, is there anything specific that you're trying to gather in that relationship?
Yeah. So if I'm just meeting somebody and talking to them, I'm wanting to kind of get the big picture thing to see what family they have, where they came from, what they're interested in, what they're into. And then as that progresses, then I'm usually trying to see what kind of goals and plans they have in the long term, if there's things I can offer for help or advice within that, and then, you know, work backwards with them to see, hey, what's step one? Because eventually stuff about real estate or whatever comes up. So then it's working backwards to, you know, step one for you to do.
Yep. I love it. Just don't overcomplicate it. So Sean, what CRM are you guys using?
Sierra. Yeah.
Oh, you said, okay. I haven't heard of that one. It's one I didn't have. A lot of the CRMs, in Follow Up Boss, which is what we just switched over, there's a background section on the side of a client where that's where our critical information that we're gathering about them is, that stays up all the time. So when somebody comes up, you can instantly see some different things or where the last communication left off. Some of the CRMs, the notes that you take there, they might have a pin where you can pin that background information or their profile at the top of the note. So it's always at the top. So what you're doing with people, kind of like what Rockefeller did, is you're building a profile of somebody. You're building certain points. So you got to figure out what points of data do I want to collect and what am I doing with those? Right? So it's like name, phone number, email address, those types of things. And then you start looking at interest, home address, trying to get all those pieces. Eventually you might get to a point where you're with somebody and you're like, hey, you've built the rapport, the relationship. You might send them an email with a jot form or something that'll fill out to get the rest of their information and maybe ask some other questions, interests, those types of things. I've had to learn, like, changing my habits to live in this thing on my phone, on the laptop. It's super annoying, but it's also been super beneficial. So I highly encourage. It's it's a bitch. I won't lie. Nurturing the relationship. So here's where we're going to spend a little time because this is the fun part. I'm going to give you guys a ton of ideas on how to do this. And by the way, technology has made this so easy in comparison to 20 years ago. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in yourself. Dale Carnegie. You know what's so interesting about that quote? It's just put it in real estate perspective. We'll spend all kinds of money thrown out there to try to get attention on us. But we spend very little money trying to put attention back either on our sphere or our clients or adding value in that way. So it is kind of fascinating when you talk about the nurturing. And, you know, it goes back to the old saying, right? It's better to give than to receive. And it is kind of fun to give. Sorry for the text on this. It's very hard to see. These are just some different ideas. Nurture the common bond. I can't even read this. Create trust, sprinkle some real estate into the relationship by asking questions and sprinkle in items of value around real estate or in common bond you have to celebrate life events, relationships, those types of things. These are just some pictures, you know, giving back. You know, when I speak, when I did my book launch, we gave back. The schools, how fun is it? Like we have a principal and it's a lower income school. They do a turkey trot every year at Thanksgiving. We go down, we donate 100 turkeys. We're getting our clients involved, and the kids like to see all the cars and the trucks and things out there. So we bring all that stuff. And again, it's just relationship building. It's fun. We get to do that and we get to give back. And that's kind of the fun part when you get into this is the giving back. And you have no idea this seed that was sown at this school. Do I have 300 new potential clients in 10 years? Right? Like, what seeds are you sowing?
You're there next Monday, right?
Right. The other part in the nurturing, so it's figuring out how you're going to nurture it so you don't get overwhelmed. So depending on your database and how you have it split, I'm just giving you an idea of how I have mine split up. It's just the way we kind of work in our terminology. So there's different ways from here. So VIP, these are people that have referred business to us or done multiple transactions with it, or they're a private lender with us. So they've got a lot of money with us. So they're VIP. So VIPs get different items of value every quarter. Sometimes they're personal, sometimes they're calls, sometimes they're gifts, sometimes they're events. It doesn't matter. It's just constantly sharing the value these people have brought to our lives and making sure that we're staying in front of them. Tribe, this is somebody we've done a transaction with. We want them to do either refer us more or something, so we keep them in tribe. That's our tribe, right? Those are our raving fans. And the network is somebody that we met, that we want to do business with, that's in the database. I'm not putting a bunch of people in my database that's like, who is this person a year later, right? There's notes in it. It kind of feels it out. So that's the network part. Buyer, obviously somebody wants to buy or sell a home, or buyer investment property, seller, someone that wants to sell a property. And then an agent that you've done cross sales with, even on other parts of the country, creating a referral network. The reason I bring this up is that these are people that now you can say, okay, how do I want to focus on the relationship of these 40 people or however many is in your VIP? You might have 2, right? How do I want to focus on tribe? What do they want to get? So we're creating a client journey for all these people that's going to build a relationship. Now, remember back to the quote of, you can't outsource the relationship side. The VIP and tribe is something we try to make a little bit more personal. Outsourcing in the network to try to keep people in. We're still doing handwritten notes, text, emails, those types of things, but trying to add value. What I realized in the VIP stuff is like, it's the constant things where these are the people that I probably pay attention to the most. And it's the fun stuff. So we had a client last year, he wrecked his motorcycle. Not so fun, right? He broke his collarbone. He's fine. I sent him a set of training wheels. I said, hey, try to keep it upright next time. Right? Not a very loving gift, but he thought it was hysterical. There's just random things you sent. I sent one to clients of mine that just moved to North Carolina. So I sent him a candle. It says, I came and I shit in your house. They're personal friends of mine. I didn't get him a house, but it was funny. He sent me a text. He posted, he's like, dude, really? But I couldn't be there for it. So there it is. You find humor with certain people, right? You can't do that with everybody, but you do find some people that you can have some crudeness with, and it's kind of fun. So just think about that. Those are the relationships. Those are making people laugh, right? Send somebody a TikTok. God, our staff's constantly sending TikToks. That's the way we communicate around here. All the white boxes. All right. Doing business with the relationship. A friendship founded on business is better than a business founded on friendship. Right? You can take that however you want to. I think it can go both ways when it comes down to it. Guys, I'm not sure what happened to my slide deck, but the writing you can't read for shit. I apologize. I'll clean it up before it gets out there.
You're going to make me get out my reading glasses, Steve.
I know, right? Sorry, guys. Freaking crap.
On the text box.
DJ Garrett. Here's the important part. Right now, you are building a foundation with everybody you meet, and you're sowing a seed. And the question is going to be, how am I going to nurture it? So how many of you experienced in life, and don't go from the standpoint of I missed out on something, but maybe you had a relationship with somebody at one point in time, and maybe you see them doing well or something, and you're like, what happened to that? Where did I lose that? See, I look at that and I always take full responsibility, because obviously if somebody went and bought another house or they're moving up in the world or whatnot, I didn't do a good job of nurturing that relationship. That's on me, right? I didn't reach out. And I'm not talking about the reach out. You ready to buy a house? Like, we're not talking about that crap. That stuff comes with people that are actively looking to buy or sell, right? You can nurture those things the way you want to. I'm talking about building long-term business relationships that are going to be with you. And look, my family did it. I got relationships that are 3 generations. I got great grandkids that, my dad sold their parents a house. So that's what it looks like as we're building this. As you're building this foundation, it's also critical. Check this out. There's more purpose to this if you're at real, but there's a bigger purpose to this altogether. I know for a fact that during COVID, when we had multiple offers and this market was insane, that my reputation and my relationship inside the industry definitely had its advantages for my clients. 100%. Now, how do you do that? Any of you that are new, it doesn't matter. I don't care what it is. If you take the time after a cross sale, I don't care if it's buyer, seller, agent, I don't care if he's an asshole or she's a bitch. You send them a thank you note and you say you appreciate them and hey, you look forward to the next time, whatever the case may be, and you try to establish a relationship. And here's why it's going to be important. Because the next time you have a client doing a cross sale with that, they are going to remember that. The next time there's multiple offers in that, they're going to remember that, right? Because you took time to appreciate them, right? And it's another source of business. Here's what I mean by that. Okay, we're going to get into the really good stuff now, because this is what you're building. If you send out a note card for every cross transaction, you have a couple of different things happening. One, you started the relationship, right? You did a transaction, you sent a card, you started the relationship. Maybe you like that person. Maybe you go have a coffee with them and you explain to them, like for me, I'm explaining to agents like, hey, I'm always a buyer. I'm always here for the creative crap when you don't know what to do and your team lead doesn't know what to do, your broker doesn't know what to do. Like I'm a call away and I want to help you with that, right? So let's figure out how we win together, and I'm always buying stuff. And I do that because I want to establish relationships. Now, eventually, I'm hoping that the relationships that I'm establishing with these agents is that they're going to want to be inside my network at Real, and they're getting some more coaching and some more different things because I'm building them up and I want to help them grow into their passive income and their other things. But the agent relationships, do you know what's the dumbest thing in the world about our business? Is that some of us haven't taken the time to nurture relationships around the country that we can make 30, 40, 50 grand a year in referral fees. Some of us are doing really good at that. Others are not. But if you got referrals, you got to have relationships on the other end, which means, guess what? Our industry is just as much part of building relationships as the clientele is. Because guess what? If Isaac got a hold of somebody in Phoenix and had a really shitty house that needed to be knocked down, Isaac's not buying. He's going to call me and say, dude, I got this cousin that's got this shithole in Phoenix and they want to get rid of it. How do we do this? Right? Because we have that relationship. This is where it builds. And this is where it is so much fun. So now we're going to get into some of the ideas with things on relationship capital. Before we move on to relationship capital, here's a couple of things. I used to love to send this book out to agents. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? If you guys haven't read it, and it's a short book, it's like 70 pages. Super fun. All it's talking about is evolution. And if you are not constantly looking for the next thing, you are going to get stuck in the past. And I think there's a lot of people that are doing that in the business because this business is constantly evolving. This is like my 6th evolution. I am the #1 person for not being consistent in my business. I will admit that wholeheartedly. It's just part of the beast, right? So you go through this and the relationship capital that you're building is going to be so critical for now. The book, Who Moved My Cheese? It's great. Right? I used to send it out all the time. It was a cheap gift. So I want you to think about this. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Don't put a monetary figure on a person. I don't care how wealthy or not wealthy they are. Everybody's equal. And if you do it that way, you will never second guess what you're about to do that person. Here's why. I have a friend of mine. She's a multi-millionaire in Minnesota. She owns a huge distribution warehouse. She's got all the money in the world. We're having a chat. I'm like, hey, have you read this book, Never Lose a Customer Again? It's really good. She's like, no, but so many people have recommended it. I'm sure it's great. I'll have to get it. So what do? I just send her the credit for Never Lose a Customer Again through Audible. She got the money for it. She can do it. It's the thought that I listened that makes an impact. The $15 will go a long way because I've actively listened. All right. Amazon makes the gifting process a lot of fun because you can do super cheap stuff. You can do super fun stuff. Jokes. It's so random, the stuff that you can do in Amazon. You can search for anything. It is like, so, well, I'll get this in a second. I'll give you that idea.
It's all the text boxes are in your project box.
Well, that slide's kind of important. So sorry you can't read it. Neither can I. Hold on 1 second. Isn't it good to know that I'm not perfect? Some of you are trying to think how I even sell a house, right? Freak is a stupid thing. Well, while you're waiting for me to fix this, somebody throw a couple of takeaways in the chat down there, or just throw it out.
I love organizing your database into like those 3 categories. I think it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, it's just you're gonna have different levels of clients, and you're gonna have different care for those clients. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's because when we do our VIP party in April, which I'll share with you guys in a second, that's the time we kind of share like, hey, you guys are all here and we've got the VIPs. So explain to people the VIPs, these are why they're VIPs. So it's kind of trying to bring an inclusion in. Like all we're asking for is your continued support in this. And this is what it looks like.
Hey, Steve, it's Will Carter.
Hey, Will.
One takeaway that I got from looking at that is that you value your VIP, the one person, one referral, the same as you would someone that's giving you multiple transactions where they did multiple transactions with you. And I love that because I think too many times we forget that. Like that one person might not have bought a house, but if they're referring you to somebody, they're going to refer you to someone else, and we should be. So
Yeah.
that would.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm glad you brought that up because sometimes we forget in our business, like we've created a relationship with somebody that's referring, but we've never done any business with them. So they should be getting that VIP treatment, even though we've never done business with them. That's the best part about it. That's the best client, right? All right. I finally figured out for some odd reason on presentation mode, it changes the color of everything. I don't know why. It's really stupid. So now I can bring this back up.
What?
All right, that's what it's supposed to say. This is where the client life cycle is perpetual. Many of you know, and that's why this is the investment mastermind. We're getting this point is that we are talking about investing. We're talking about investing in people, right? The more time and energy we invest in people, the more efforts and the more return we're going to have on that investment. And right now, some of you might not have a lot of money to go do advertising and things. You got time and conversations. I don't care if you're kicking back at a Starbucks with a stinking sign on a computer that says, talk to me about real estate, right? And do what you got to do. When you get into the life cycle, this is the fun part. You're going to learn the importance and the value of real estate investing, right? We're going to teach our clients the importance of investing in real estate. We're going to present opportunities to invest. Do they want to own real estate, or they want to own or invest in real estate without owning it? Showing first-time home buyers and converting them into investors. And then most importantly, you're not skipping the step of putting yourself first in the learning process and participating in the wealth building. A lot of you have been in my coaching and done things, and this is the thing where some of you haven't heard this. If you got into real estate to make 6 figures and show houses, which is the most common thing that somebody tells me they want to get into real estate for, I'm going to encourage you and invite you to realize like one of the main reasons that you're here is for your future. Real estate can generate income. The retirement part of it is going to be a little bit more difficult unless you're super disciplined, or you're taking your skills and you're honing them on the investment side. And when you hone them for yourself on the investment side, you learn for yourself. And then guess what? You are a threat for all of your clients, because now guess what? You're going back and you're talking about money. You're talking about finances. You're talking about how to make their lives better. And it's no longer a sale. It's an opportunity. So I love this part of it because I've started investing. Some of you have started investing, but how many of you are helping your clients invest? How many of you are having conversations? See, the great thing about investing is that it's forever, right? This 50-year-old guy might invest. His grandson might be ready to invest, or his son might be ready to invest. So it becomes this conglomerate of investors where you're still doing traditional, but now you're helping your clients truly build their wealth while you're doing it as well. So you got to get into this. It's important. I can't stress it enough. And I'm going to give you a little bit of something here. There's kind of some insight of what this looks like. This is why it's so important for you to understand the investment journey for yourself. And I don't care if you're practicing, it doesn't matter. You got to know it. You got to get into this. Well, you don't have to. I would invite you to, because it's a hell of a lot more fun. There's a lot more money in it when you figure it out. And there's ways that now you're solving problems for families by understanding the investment side. One of my greatest regrets will always be looking back and wishing that 25 years ago, I had the same mindset I had today on my database and I was building relationships. Instead, the way I was taught was it's just a bunch of names that we're sending shit to that hopefully somebody buys a house from. That's how it felt, right? Some of you may feel that way. So let's change that up and figure out, like, I want to have relationships with my clients. How good do I want to be? How much do I want to nurture them? Who can I nurture? Who can I turn into a raving fan? And the more you're in front of your people with value, the more they're going to stay in front of you. If you're sending, we've all seen it, right? No offense, lawyer's title. By the way, guys, I appreciate you and all your sponsorship, all the stuff we do. Is this. I don't want, again, no offense to lawyer's title. I don't want 12 of the same generic emails from the title company on Valentine's Day. I got one from Deb. I got one from Dave, right? It's the same thing, different email. We don't want to be a part of that. So if we're using canned stuff and we're just that's not generating a relationship. That's just throwing shit against the wall, hoping something sticks. There's no personal thing in that. You're like, if I just set this thing up that sends out stupid emails all year, I'm going to build relationships that way. It's not the way it works. All right. Here's some ideas. Just quick takeaways, right? Find a CRM and use it. I don't care what it is. Go back to, go back to the Rolodex type stuff. If you have to, in that way. Gifting budgeting. Set a gifting budget aside. Right? Random acts of kindness. I don't care how you put it. It's random acts of kindness. It's driving down the street going, I'm going to send this person some flowers, or I'm going to send something out of Amazon. Whatever that budget looks like, and it doesn't have to be large. It's funny, the stuff that you can send in the mail through Amazon, and you don't even have to package it. They send it for you. That's the best part about it. That's what I love about Amazon. Closing gifts, kind of an off-the-wall thing. I heard it yesterday, was really good, was, rather than always like trying to figure out the closing gift, we have 10 subscriptions we choose from at closing. We set somebody up on a 12-month subscription, something that means something from the active listing. It just makes it a little simple, and they think about you for the next 12 months. How do people remember you? How are you leaving that lasting impression with them? Something you did, right? Again, we can go back to all the old sailings, right? It's how you made them feel at the end of the day. Like, it's just old school. It's people. Create a client journey. So you remember how I separated my database? Each one of those has an annual client journey. Each one of them is communicated to differently. Each one of them has different email sequences, different text sequences, different events. You line that out. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? Make it simple. Don't go too deep, but make it valuable. I'd rather you send one crazy item of value a year than a bunch of bull crap. It's just better that way. Depending on the size of your database, events, things like that, they're great to do. The title companies, they'll help you with it. They'll help get lists together, those types of things. So it's always great. Different partners. So you can go through that. You don't have to do it on your own if you're trying to do it. Client journey, we just talked about. Set a daily standard, right? Which I'm going to show you in the next slide. Set a daily standard. When I get up in the morning, I learned this recently, actually about 6 months ago, and I loved it. It really changed. I wake up in the morning and I just ask myself, who am I serving today? And who am I going to connect with today? And how can I make an impact? That's it. If we can do those three things at the end of the day, I guarantee you the money will follow. But if we set our intentions on money in the morning, I don't know that your intentions with the people are the same by the end of the day, right? Set aside relationship building time. Some of your teams, you guys have call nights and you have lead gen time and all these other things. And like, did you do your lead gen time? Look, none of us, if we sign up for something, wants to be called a lead. right? I don't want to be called a lead. I don't want to say, yeah, Deb's a great friend. She's a lead in my CRM. Nope. I'm going to go head down and build relationships for the next hour. Don't freaking bother me. Right? Whatever that is. I don't care if it's writing cards, sending Amazon gifts, sending jokes to people. I don't care. You're building a relationship. Do it in your own way. It's kind of fun. All right, here's 20 simple steps. They don't cost you any money, and you can do them when we get off the call. And it takes less than an hour for most of them. Okay. I literally put this out here because this is literally my day-to-day. That I'm just going back old school. Some people are like, oh, you could do so much more. I don't care. If you don't like it, I don't care. It's pretty simple. It's working. All right, note cards. Seriously, this is how lame this is. I have generic note cards from Amazon that say you're awesome on them. Not everybody needs a thank you card, so get some generic cards. These cards shouldn't be branded. They shouldn't have your company crap all over it. Make it genuine. That's the goal. Okay. 5 to 10 text messages a day. Most of our CRMs have a text capability in them. Do you know how easy it is sitting at your desktop and send 10 text messages out? It's pretty funny. So I did it a couple of times last week. I'm like, I'm just going through. I'm texting people. I haven't talked to this person. I love sharing this because you'd think I'd have my shit together by now, but I don't. I'm just constant evolving mess. So I'm sitting there doing text messages. I'm like, this guy's in my CRM. I haven't talked to him in 5 years since I sold him a house. Like, I feel guilty now. So do you skip over that contact and go, do you delete it? So here's my thing. If I skipped over it, I had to delete it. If you're not going to talk to it, delete it. You're not going to do anything with it. So rather than skipping over it, I just started saying, hey, long time no talk to. I suck. I'd love to reconnect. I'm still doing real estate. If not, no big deal. I hope you're doing well. That was it. And I started shooting text messages out to people I hadn't talked to in a long time. And the conversation started coming back. Dude, it's so good to hear from what do you like? All of a sudden things start saying like, this is weird. Maybe if I just sit down and do this a little bit more often, it'd be better. So that's what I'm doing. A gift per day. You don't have to do it that day, but if you write down, you're like, I don't know if you have staff, whatever it is, you can kind of batch some things. So if you're like, you got a note in your phone, like, I'm going to send John training wheels for this. I'm going to send this person flowers. Do it all on Friday in an hour or in one of your hour times. Just go in and knock it out, right? Birthdays, anniversaries, the typical things, right? There's tons of automations for those. Those I don't know that you have to get too personal with, but maybe you look at like birthdays and your network, they just get a birthday text. Your tribe gets a birthday card that goes from send out cards, and maybe your VIPs actually get a birthday gift from Amazon. Figure it out. That's what it looks like, right? How are you going to communicate and do those? And keep in mind, as you're talking to people, that somebody refers you, right? So let's say they're in tribe and Allie refers me to Sean. Well, guess what? I need to go update Allie's contact and say, hey, Allie, so awesome you referred me. I so appreciate this. You've just moved into our VIP section, and I just want to acknowledge that. You're going to acknowledge her on social. You're going to welcome her there. And then you're going to email like, you've now made it to VIP and blah. What does that make her feel like? All she did was refer you. You haven't even done any business with a referral yet. How does Allie feel? Allie doesn't even know what the hell a VIP is, but she's excited about it. That's the fun in building the relationships. Life events. If you haven't heard this, it's really cool. You can go into Facebook and you can create friend lists, right? So I can create a real estate agent list. I can create my VIP client list to mirror my CRM and Facebook. So guess what? I can click on that list and I can stalk the life events of those people, comment, gift, update, do whatever. And by the way, I'm telling you to do that for the first 30 days until you hire somebody to do it. Then guess what? You can get a VA to comment, be personal, do things, and let you know, hey, this person had a death in the family. You need to do something with this, right? That it's weird, but you're connecting with people. Comment on 10 to 15 posts per day. That sounds weird, right? Like stalking, but here's the deal. If you're trying to establish and open up a rapport and a relationship with somebody, guess what? a comment here and there on their stuff as it starts to come up, guess what? It's no different than getting an email in their inbox. They see your name, they see your name here. Guess what? If they all of a sudden get a text from you, you'd be like, man, it's weird. It's like all of a sudden we were connected. I don't know. That's some of the weird stuff you can do. You want to reconnect with somebody old on Facebook? Call them from Facebook and hang up. Just butt dial. Say, dude, I was looking through something. I accidentally called you. How you doing? You might start a conversation. Do you see how simple these things are? A lot of times we just won't plan out. So if you're like on your list of to-dos, oh, I got to call and hang up on 5 people this morning. That sounds like fun. It's better than cold calling. It's like reverse cold calling. It does give you some fun stuff to do, right? You ever get those weird texts like, hey, John, are we leaving this weekend? It's like a phishing text. You can do the same thing with your clients to reconnect with people. Volunteer, get involved. You know, when my kids were younger and I was broke, I spent all my time volunteering at school. I would go on every field trip, every time I could be at school. I just found places to get involved. And guess what? We sold a lot of houses through the school that year or those couple of years. So you can get involved by being genuine. Don't do what I've seen some people do. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to go sponsor this event just to do bit. You're not there to build genuine relationships. You're there for yourself. It's self-serving. So try not to be self-serving. Hobbies create connection. We talked about that earlier, right? Mine's the car thing. It's a lot of fun. It creates a lot of connection. And it gives me something to do besides real estate. Get out of the office of your house. Isaac, that means you. Seriously though, seriously, this is really important. I catch myself do it. I love being in the office, great culture here, all that fun stuff. But if we're not out with people, you will die a slow death, or your business will, one of the two. There's only so much you can do from the phone. I love the connection piece too with clients. Do you know that Steve Jobs never did like conference room table meetings with people, like when he did one-on-ones? It was always walking meetings. Go for a hike with a client, do something, right? Again, you're trying to find those common pieces.
He's dead.
Huh?
Well, he's dead.
Shut up, Gary. This is a tough one, but it doesn't all have to be business related. 5 personal meetings a week. Try to keep half of those to 0 business. All of you today could reach out to an old friend and go have coffee. Genuinely. Relationships start with connection. Catch up with somebody. You may find some interesting things out, and you will never know the seeds you're sowing right now. Just like when Sean sent me that text a couple of weeks ago, you don't know the seeds you're sowing today. And even when somebody doesn't respond, don't take it personally. Sean didn't take it personally. He didn't send me the middle finger or anything after that. He's like, screw you. You can't take it personally. But then you do want to get personal. Like I said, we've invited clients out to the track, to car shows, because I'm finding I'm not inviting my whole database, but the people that are in and around that, I'm like, yeah, I want to pull these people in because it's another connection piece and it gives them something fun. And there's nothing better than putting a client in a drag race car or drift car and terrifying them. It's a lot of fun. Get personal. Open up. Guys, I want you to look at this for a second. 2 things. I want you to gather all the crap in your mailbox for the next 2 weeks of anything that sales, any companies. Mail has depleted massively over the last couple of years. It's weird. I used to get all kinds of postcards, buy your house, all things. I don't see any of that anymore. The older people love to see things in the mail. It's like, I got one investor that will not take ACH deposits because he wants something to do, which is to go to the bank and deposit his checks. Older people still like mail stuff. Give them some mail. They enjoy it. Get personal though. In your emails, don't be afraid to share about family, a fun event, something you did, encourage something you found. I've recently come to the point where like, kind of sucks. I spend a lot of time, which I totally enjoy being in front of you guys, teaching you about all the different things. But then I realized that I'm like, I kind of suck. I'm not sharing a lot of this like in personal emails to my own clients. That might be something I want to do. So it's all on social, but we also know that our clients only see about 10% of our social, if that at all. Right. VIP stuff. This is where you get into like sending personal videos or somebody you're trying to connect with. Really easy to do. Buy items in bulk to send to your clients. There's so many fun gift ideas that are super inexpensive that can be drop shipped or parties, or delivered. Shout out to your clients for referrals. People love to be recognized, right? And you have the ability to do that. And guess what? You have to shout out the referral, whether you do business with a referral or not. Period. It doesn't make any difference. That person thought about you. They deserve everything that goes with a referral. Everything after that is up to you. It's your opportunity. Then connect your clients with other clients, right? I always try to ask the question at the end of something is when somebody shares something with me is, hey, how can I support you? Can I connect you with someone or how can I support you? When you ask that question, you're genuinely trying to see what do they need? And if they don't need anything, great. If they're like, hey, I could really use, then figure it out. How do you connect them? Don't let them down. Don't walk away from there without writing something down and following through with it. Because we all have those people we've met with like, dude, can I support you in any way? And you ask, you never hear back from them again. So don't be that person, right? All right. I'm out of breath. I'm late. And I'm going to open up the floor for you guys. I appreciate y'all joining in. And I know everybody's got places to go. So any takeaways or Q&A, I would love to hear about it. And awesome.
What subscription ideas for the closing gifts? Like, what do you buy subscriptions to?
So think about it for certain people. And again, try to active listen. So you don't want to send an alcoholic a wine subscription, right? So you got to be conscious. My aunt, we struggled, my 75-year-old aunt, to find a Christmas present for her. Do you know what she is so excited about? She loves her dog. She got a gourmet biscuit subscription. So she gets a dog biscuit every month, not for her, for her dog. She loves it. So we started going through like, what are some other fun things that we could do for our clients that just kind of makes it easy?
They're hand-picked subscriptions for them, not a subscription of closing days.
Yeah, they're hand-picked stuff for them. So we just have a choice. It's kind of like, yeah, here's this. You can also, I recently saw yesterday that, and I haven't done it yet. In Amazon, you can create a gift list. So like Isaac, if you have like 6 different gifts you want to choose from, you can create a gift list and it's always available. Just go and pop it open and send it. That's kind of cool.
It's awesome. Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, Steve, thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
It was a very informative and helpful.
Hey, absolutely, Carl. Will, called you by your last name.
All right, that's not the worst thing called today.
Right? Well, I think that's all I got today. Unless you guys got anything else, I appreciate you being here and spending an hour of your time with me, and I will see you next month.
Thanks, Steve. As always,
Thanks,
good
Steve.
stuff, man.
See you guys.
Bye. Thank you. Think that was worthwhile.